All right, we're back. This is Government America. I'm Darren Weeks. By the way, the phone number, if you'd like to call in, 800-313-9443. That's 800-313-9443. You know, I'm reminded of the Pentagon situation after September 11th. You know, just months after 9/11, it was admitted by the controlled media that Anwar Al-Alaki, which the media today continually blames, and I guess the Justice Department, the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, CIA, all these alphabet soup government agencies are blaming Anwar al-Awlaki for all of this terrorism that he's orchestrated. They've connected him with I don't know how many incidents of terrorism around the world. The New York car bombing. I mean, the list is as long as your arm. And yet we know from the media reports, it was admitted, and I could find the article if I had enough time. Point of the matter is, and I've talked about it on the past anyway, on the show. But the point of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, he was dining with Pentagon brass just months after 9/11, and he was supposed to be blamed for 9/11. And they said, well, we just had bad vetting. You know, we were trying to reach out to the Muslim community, and it was just poor vetting. No, I'm sorry. You can only hide behind incompetence for so long until it gets really old and it doesn't have credibility anymore. I mean, this kind of just in-your-face orchestration of terrorism today, and we know with all the funding of the Taliban going on right now, we know that Karzai was installed as a puppet leader. He was reelected over there under a cloud of suspicion with regard to the elections. His opponent gave up out of frustration because he knew it wasn't going to be an honest election. Karzai's in there. He's a CIA asset. Near as I can tell, most of his administration is on the payroll of the CIA. We know his brother is, and we know his brother is a big drug lord over there. We played the audio from Geraldo Rivera on Fox News interviewing the troops, and they can't, they're standing by while the poppy fields are flourishing over there. We have a United Nations 2007 report from the UN Office on Drugs. I forget exactly what the office is called, but the United Nations has its own drug arm, and they put out a report in 2007 talking about how Afghanistan, since the United States has been occupying that country, the poppy fields are flourishing. I mean, Afghanistan now, I remember reading in that report, I think it was the same report, Afghanistan almost has a corner on the market now for poppy, for opium production. 93% of the world's opium demand is supplied by Afghanistan, ladies and gentlemen, and this has happened since the United States has been occupying the country. So why is this all going on? Because we have a shadow government operating behind the scenes, orchestrating the affairs of mankind. And they're trying to do their best to take away your freedoms and move us toward a totalitarian system. And the orchestration of terrorism is central to that problem. From the Seattle Times we see, was the FBI grooming the Portland suspect for terror? That's the headline. Was FBI grooming Portland suspect for terror? They say the FBI undercover operatives helped fund Mohammed Osman Mohammed, his would-be terrorism plot to detonate a car bomb during a Christmas tree lighting ceremony on Friday at a crowded public square in the heart of the city. Operatives helped him find components needed to create a bomb and schooled the 19-year-old Somali-born man in how to set off explosives. See, this guy, if he was left alone, wouldn't have done anything, more than likely. Okay, but the FBI found this guy, said, hey, buddy, and they took him by the hand and basically taught him how to do explosives. They supplied him with what he needed, the knowledge that he needed, and funded him. They say the sting operation enabled the FBI to amass a formidable amount of details about what a grand jury indictment Monday charged was Muhammad's attempt to use a car bomb as a weapon of mass destruction. But Muhammad's attorneys and some local Muslims are raising questions about whether the operatives who posed as co-conspirators played their role too well. Defense attorney Steve Sadie questioned whether the operatives were basically grooming, and that's the quote, basically grooming Mohammed to commit a terrorist attack. Quote, the information released by the government raises serious questions about the government manufacturing a crime. Did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? It raises serious questions about the government manufacturing a crime. That was the quote from Sadie and Stephen Wax, public defenders assigned to represent Mohammed. Mohammed, through his attorneys, pleaded not guilty on Monday. Law enforcement officials say that they gave Mohammed plenty of opportunities to opt out of the bomb plan, and that he had committed to carrying out the crime at the time, place, and location of his choosing. I am confident that there is no entrapment here, said Attorney General Eric Holder. He said that on Monday in Washington, D.C., there were a number of opportunities that the defendant in this matter was given to retreat, to take a different path. He chose at every step to continue. That's not the point, ladies and gentlemen. Even if that's true, the fact is they took this guy and led him to commit the crime. They led him down that road. I got to take the bottom of the hour break. Time's getting away from me. I'm going to get into this Cancun thing here shortly. Lots more to come. In the second hour, we're going to be visiting with Stephen Jacobson, Mind Control in America. Third hour, Bob Chapman's going to be joining us. Cram-packed program. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. This is Govern America. I'm Darren Weeks. I'm going to continue with this here in just a moment, and we'll take John in Tennessee in just a moment. And folks, if you'd like to call in, you can join in as well. 800-313-9443. That's 800-313-9443. I also have information about how the North American Union is going forward right now. None of this has fallen by the wayside. We have the regional system in North America being built right now. We'll cover that in just a few minutes. In the meantime, getting back to this Seattle Times article about how the FBI took this would-be terrorist by the hand, basically funded him and educated him on the art of explosives to set off the bomb, and so that they could turn around and say, we gotcha. You know, and why would they do this, ladies and gentlemen? Well, the reason why they're doing this is because when they're telling you that terrorism is a problem, when they're telling you that there's a threat here and there and everywhere, they have to have actual cases that they can point to and say, see there, we told you it's a problem. See there. And so this is why we're seeing this kind of stuff going on right now. This entrapment, this trying to recruit. These people are trying to recruit terrorists. They're doing the same thing that they're accusing imams and whatever else of trying to do. They're trying to recruit terrorists. It's exactly what they're doing. Anyway, the article says the handling of the case by the Justice Department and the FBI won praise from some in Portland, including Mayor Sam Adams, who as a city commissioner earlier in his career voted in favor of removing the city from the Joint Terrorism Task Force formed by the FBI and other law enforcement agencies. He said, I think this was a really smart response with the federal, state, and local law enforcement that resulted in preventing someone with what looks like a clear criminal intent to do harm with a weapon of mass destruction. End quote. Still, Imtiaz Khan, president of the Islamic Center of Portland, and Masjid Az-Sabar, a mosque where Muhammad worshipped, said several people at the mosque had questioned why law enforcement helped orchestrate such an elaborate plan for a terrorist attack. Quote, and this is Khan speaking, they're saying, why allow it to get to this public stunt? To put the community on edge? He told that to the New York Times. The case is the latest in a series of sting operations that have involved FBI undercover operatives or informants posing as terrorists to help make a case against would-be bombers. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. A lot more in that article, but I think we've made the point, ladies and gentlemen. And I ask the question once again. Without the involvement of the FBI, without the involvement of the CIA, without the involvement of all these government agencies, how much terrorism would really exist? I'm sure that there would be some people somewhere that would try to blow things up. We've always had nutcases that go off the deep end and try to do certain things to hurt people. We've always had that. But you're not going to have near the kind of problem that you have when you have little people doing black operations out there trying to recruit people, actually supplying money for it. It's insane. Let's go to the phone lines. 800-313